Hello everybody. It's pretty late at night and I was kind of going over a lesson for today in chapters 2 and 3 of Huckleberry Finn, and I kind of realized there's some things that you needed to know. So I wanted to kind of record a few things first and then help you understand a few of the aspects of the story that you might not understand. First thing is in chapter 3 and chapter 2 there's kind of a reference to a book called Don Quixote. Now Don Quixote was written a long time ago in the 1500s in Spain by a guy named Miguel de Cervantes, one of my favorite books of all time. But the story of an old man named Don Alonso, and what he does is he reads a lot of books, and kind of like we were talking about fictional stories yesterday and how sometimes people get caught up in stories to where they become true to them. This Don Alonso is reading stories about knights and things like that and realizes, I would like to become a knight myself. So he decides he's going to leave and go out and get a shiny, get armor and get a sword and all these things so he can become a knight, because in his stories that's what knights do. But what really he is only able to find is really shabby armor and a sword made of wood, and he can't really find the actual things needed to become a real knight. But in his mind he is able to do it because he makes it up in his own mind. He's also able to find a sidekick named Sancho Panza who rides around on a mule as opposed to like a big giant horse. And anyway, he goes around trying to solve problems and save princesses who are actually prostitutes, and trying to save people from monsters that aren't actually monsters but they're windmills, and doing crazy things like that. The reason it's referenced in Mark Twain's Huckleberry Finn, especially the beginning, is because Huck Finn himself reads a lot of stories because he's forced to by the Widow Douglas, and reads stories about being a robber, and read stories about creating gangs and bands with his friends, but really doesn't know how to do it other than what he's read in books. And so the whole story in chapter 3 about finding the Spaniards and the Arabs and things like that is really pretty funny, because it's kind of a reference to Don Quixote and how Don Quixote did that as well, and how most people have no idea what they're doing in real life but try to do it based on the stories they read. And it's actually kind of really true in our world as well. Most people have no idea what to do in real life but follow the models of what they see in movies, what they see on TV. And so that's kind of the joke here in this whole story. What Mark Twain's making fun of in the chapters 2 and chapter 3 is how people see fictional stuff as true and try to go out and model it, and oftentimes it's shown to not be able to be true itself. So that's kind of the important thing to understand with that reference. But really try to make sure you have a good time with chapter 2 and chapter 3. It's intended to be funny, so try and find the jokes, and part of your questions will be what did you find interesting, what did you find funny, and what was Mark Twain really making fun of and satirizing during these chapters.